So Anthropic has released Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Of course, that's an upgrade from 3.5 Sonnet. Now, it's a unique model in that it now has a thinking mode, but it's not a separate thinking model. So, for example, O1, O3, even DeepSeek are separate reasoning models, separate from their normal large language models, GPT-4o or whatever. But with Claude 3.7, it's actually the same model as the thinking and the same model that's just a normal LLM, a hybrid LLM thinking model. In this video, I want to take it for a spin, test it all out and see how it does. So if you want to find out more, please let me explain. Okay, here we are inside of Claude, and you see here it's Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and because I have the professional plan, notice you can add the thinking mode here, the extended thinking. We'll test that as we go along. But let's just start with our kind of sanity question, which is Alice has 5 brothers and she has 3 sisters. How many sisters does Alice's brother have? Now, Claude 3.5 got this right without any thinking, so I'm expecting this to come out here without any problem at all. Alice has 3 sisters, so each of Alice's brothers has 4 sisters. That's correct. Okay, the next question is the first of our 2 hourglass questions. This first one is simpler. You have a 10-minute hourglass and you have a 5-minute hourglass, and you need to measure 15 minutes. The simplest answer is you start one and then start the other. Let's see what it says without any thinking. Let's just give it that as a standard LLM. Okay, start both hourglasses simultaneously, which you don't need to do, but it may still work. When the 5-minute one runs out, flip it. When the 10-minute one runs out, flip the 5-minute one again. Wait till the 5-minute one runs out, and then you'll have 15 minutes, which is true, but it's doing some extra stuff there it doesn't need. Let's ask it the same question now, but with it, give it some thinking and see if it changes its mind. Okay, it's saying basically the same thing, start both the same and then flip. But it is the right answer, but it isn't the most efficient answer. Now, the more complicated of our 2 hourglass questions is if you have a 7-minute timer and an 11-minute timer, how can you measure 15 minutes? Now, you can't do that by just sequentially doing them. You have to do some trickery. In my last video on Grok 3, there were lots of different discussions in the comments about the way to achieve it. Lots of people got a way. It isn't the optimum way. They got a way. Let's see what this does. We will give it the extended thinking because it is a tricky question. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's thought for quite a long time for nearly 5 minutes. Yes, you can measure exactly 15 minutes using the 2 hourglasses. How do you do that? You start the 11-minute timer. When the sand in the 11-minute timer reaches exactly the amount of sand in the 7-minute, okay, well that's gonna be a tricky one. It's asking you to measure the amount of sand in one and the other. Okay, which happens after 4 minutes have passed. Start the 7-minute timer. When both glasses complete, which will happen simultaneously at the 11-minute mark. Well, if that was true, then why bother? Okay. They've both now finished at the 11-minute mark. Flip the 11-minute mark to start again. After the 11-minute mark has been running for 4 minutes, but you don't know that. Okay, no, it doesn't work. Sorry, it thought for a really, really long time, but that answer is just not right. As with the previous video, love to hear your solutions to that problem in the comments below. Okay, our next question sees how good it is at reversing words, which is actually quite tricky for a large language model. Basically says you're an English teacher, you're helping a student with an exercise, you've got to follow the instruction. What are the instructions? Read the text below, pick a very unusual word, then pick a synonym for that word, and then reverse that word. So you've got read the text, pick a word that's unusual, pick a synonym for that unusual word, and then reverse that. Most of the big models get it right. I don't think we're going to need any thinking. We'll just put it on normal. Let's check. If it doesn't, we'll give it some thinking time as well. Okay, so it's picked out a quixotical, which is the correct word, really the most unusual word in that text. It says fanciful is a word that you can reverse, and let's see if it's done it right. F-A-N-C-I-F. Well, it has done it right. So it's been able to pick a word, pick a synonym, and then reverse that synonym without thinking time. So that's pretty good. That's quite impressive. Okay, our final test is a programming test. Now, basically, these models have got so good that if you say, write some Python script to do this, and it's just a couple of hundred lines, it's going to do it and it's going to get it right, basically. Whether you want Tetris, whether you want Breakout, whether you want, tic-tac-toe, whatever you want, it's going to be able to do it for you. So the test I did with Grok 3 was to get to write a chess engine that uses the universal chess interface. Now, Grok 3 was able to write the program, it used the interface correctly, and it made a move, but it was an illegal move, an illegal chess move. So I'm going to ask the same question here of Claude 3.7 with thinking. Now, I've given it a lot of instructions because obviously just write a chess engine is a bit vague. So I've given it lots of instructions, breaking down the task, telling it how to do the searching, telling it about the universal chess interface, telling it what language, write it in C, and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of instructions which hopefully pushes it on to actually producing some good output. Okay, let's go ahead, put it on thinking, and let's go. Okay, so it's starting to produce some output. We just saw quickly there flashing up the structure of what it's going to produce. It's now producing some code. Okay, it said it reached its maximum response length and I had to type in continue. So I've typed in continue and now it's still going ahead. Okay, it's finished. Now there's lots and lots of code here, as you would expect. I'm going to go ahead, give it to me all in nice little modules here. I'm going to go ahead, put that all together in a project, give it a compile. Back in a second. Okay, so I cut and paste all that code in. That's quite impressive. There's more than 2,500 lines of C code here. There were some compiler errors. I had to cut and paste the errors back into Claude. It then changed the files, and now I have the compiled version up and running. So let's just see, give it a quick sanity test. Okay, so the binary is in the binary file. Let's folder. Let's run chess engine. UCI, these are the chess commands, that the universal chess interface that you give it. Is ready, okay. Now you just say go, and it comes up with the best move, and best move 0, 0, 0, 0 means there was no move. Now this is of course the start of a game, so it doesn't work unfortunately. So it compiles, it understands the UCI chess interface, the universal chess interface, but doesn't make it a good move. Okay, so there you have it, Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Also do tell me which is your favourite large language model. Love to hear what people are using on a day-to-day basis. Okay, that's it. My name's Gary Sims. This is Gary Explains. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you like these kind of videos, I invite you to stick around by subscribing to the channel. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.